Hello students, in what will probably be the last video in this small series on Excel, I'm going to show you how you can take some information from the Excel document we've been working on and take it into a more desktop publishing program such as Microsoft Word. The reason you'd want to do this is quite simply Word can produce a much more elegant document for sharing, printing, etc. than you can do in Excel. So it's very easy to do. So for the most part, if you want, say, this frequency table in your Word document that I have over here on the right, you're simply going to highlight it, copy it with whichever method you prefer. I'm using Control-C on my Windows computer and simply paste it in. And it creates a nice table that matches exactly what you're doing over here in Excel. So that's a really easy process. And the graph is just as easy. If I choose my graph and I copy that graph over here, I'm just going to put it underneath, then I can paste that graph in as well. Straightforward, not hard to do. Obviously, once it's in Word, I can move it around and do things that I need to it as well, especially if I set it properly to be in front of other text. So I could move this to where I want now and position it and make it look good. Now, there is a small thing to consider here. With the graph, just like when it's in Excel, it is live. It is connected still to this data. So if I change some values over here, let's say I'll make some more of these 10, I'll turn all these 12s into 10s, you'll see our table in Excel change, just like we saw earlier in the previous video, but notice the one in Microsoft Word is also changing because they are still linked. The same as if I was to delete some of the data, let's say the table that this graph is based on from my Excel document, it will not only stuff up my graph in Excel, it's going to stuff up the one in the Word document. Okay, so these are still linked. So if you delete information that's critical or you potentially move or rename this Excel document, any linked graphs will also be affected. Now you can fix that, and the way to bring this graph into my Word document but not have it change is essentially to paste it in as a picture. So if I just quickly move this one out of the way a little bit, and I instead take this graph, I'll copy it like normal, so choose it, copy, and when I come over here into my Word document, I'm going to paste it using Paste Special. And for me, I can do that with a right click, and I'm choosing this last option of picture. So at first glance, these appear identical, but of course, if I change some values over here, let's put some 12s back in, you can see the one at the top, which is linked to the data, is changing, but this one is not. This is simply a picture. I can resize it and stuff like that, like any picture, but I can't modify this graph anymore. If I wanted a new version, I would have to delete this one and bring across a new one. And which of those two options you use will again depend on what you're trying to create. If you want to create a Word document with graphs, for example, that you know will change and you want those changes to happen regularly, then I would probably link my two sheets together, my Excel document with my Word document. If this is a one-off that I'm going to publish and maybe print, for example, then I might leave it as a picture. So again, both options are completely valid. It really just depends on your use case. So that's rounding out what I intend to do in this little video series. Of course, there is a huge amount more that you can do in Excel, and a huge amount more, of course, you can also do in Word. But for our tasks here in our statistics sessions in Year 7, this is enough that you need to answer all the questions that we're currently doing. So I hope these have been helpful for you. I hope that you're now able to answer and produce the work that's been asked of you. And I hope that in some time in the future, you might explore both Word and Excel and see what else you can achieve with them. They are certainly very, very powerful programs. And as you progress through the year levels, there's going to be more and more ways that they both could help you to produce attractive, presentable, and most importantly, accurate pieces of work.